long as I got my suit and tie, my earphones here, and scuba to the left, I can dance all night long. Woo, 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 woo. Hey guys. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. Hands to the left, hands to the right. Face right here to see you. Hi.
Oh man, how are you doing tonight, Ry?
I am good. I am good. It's a good Tuesday evening at our new slot at 8 p.m. A little bit more awake.
A little bit more awake, a little less need of coffee.
Yeah, a little less coffee, but yeah, doing well. Doing well.
That's good to hear. That's good to hear.
Warm weather is coming. Restrictions are about to be lifted, so it's about to be party time.
Oh yeah, they are totally lifting.
Oh yes.
Totally lifting.
Friday. In Virginia, people.
Oh no, I've seen a few places they were already lifting up. It's like I think I went to a couple of restaurants and didn't have to worry about wearing masks.
Yep.
I mean, it was. I think
I
it was
did that yesterday.
I think when we rolled out for Village Inn for our Saturday breakfast before Shadow Watch,
Yeah.
Walked up in, there was a sign on the front door that says, "Have you been vaccinated? Don't worry about your mask." And it's like,
Yep. Yesterday I did that. Where I work out, don't need to wear my mask. Where I went grocery shopping, didn't wear my mask. Walked to 7-Eleven, don't need to wear my mask. So I like it. You know, they have the sign up there, and it's pretty much an honor system. So
Yeah,
I keep my mask in my pocket just in case. But I also have my card in my pocket just in case. So I am ready to take on the warm world because you know I like just randomly going to random places on the weekend. So yes, sir.
oh yeah, random places would be fun. It'd be nice to. I don't get to do many random places on the weekends. My weekends are pretty full.
Oh yeah,
However, random things can still happen on the weekend.
they can. And so, but yeah.
Yeah, so I had a friend. He lives next state away. He and his brother were in town over the weekend, and we got together Sunday and played board games. It was great. It was fun. Hadn't seen this guy in a couple of years since he moved, and it was nice now that he could travel because he's fully vaccinated. Came up, we hung out, played a game. I think it was a Shadows over Camelot we played, which is an old classic. It's been years since I played that one. It was fun. It's kind of a great kind of cooperative board game.
Yeah, it was always good to play cooperative or something that is a different escape than
Yeah,
Monopoly.
I love that. Yeah, Monopoly ruins friendships. I mean, I'm sorry, Monopoly is like evil. It ruins friendships.
It kills family members. It ruins friendships. It destroys nations. So
Yeah, we don't talk. No. Granted, they have a lot of different varieties of Monopoly, but no matter how you package it, Monopoly will still ruin friendships.
yes, it will. But back to your board game.
Yeah. If you haven't played it, the idea is you're like King Arthur and his knights, and you go on quests.
That sounds like fun.
There's like a progression of evil, so it's kind of like you as a group versus the game.
Okay.
And one of the things is there's an element called traitors, which these are people who are supposed to be actively trying to sabotage the game until you sit there and call them out. There's a pro and con, and the idea is you complete quests, fill up the round table with swords, and see how that ends. And the various quests, and trying to pick, like you have to fight off invasion from the Saxons and the Picts. You have to fight the Black Knight in jousting contest. You have to go search for the Holy Grail. And then in a couple of the expansions, they added Lancelot and the Dragon, as well as finding Excalibur. So you have all these things to do, and you can either try and solo them or work cooperatively to complete the quests. So it was a lot of fun. Got one of my friends, and then but it was nice having everybody over, kind of hanging out, doing that thing.
It's always good for a hangout.
Yep.
I did my own kind of hangout this weekend, but more of a retreat. We went up, me and Angelica went up to Williamsburg with our friends Sean and Faith, and we went to a meadery. It's called Silverhand Meadery up in Williamsburg. Didn't even know there was one there. I have been to a meadery before, and this one was actually pretty good. Came back with a bottle. Also went, of course, if you're in Williamsburg, I went to the winery there too. Had a good lunch there and some drinks. That was the Williamsburg retreat. Other than that, just reading the biopic on Joe Coy. Some interesting stuff in there, but it's really cool because every chapter, anybody knows Joe Coy. He is Filipino heritage, so before each chapter, he has a recipe for a Filipino dish. Every single chapter, so that's pretty cool to see what dish will be next. And just going, what I told my coworker today, my credit card is crying at me because with everything opening up, one of my favorite things I like to do is go to concerts. And all the concerts are starting to show back up, and guess who's buying the tickets? This guy. So, yes.
I'm sorry, but what's coming to mind is an Instagram post from Lex, Made You Look. He does this one where it's like, you know, it's a little thing where it's like getting ready to, you know, do something fun like play Animal Crossing, and then it kind of cuts over to her in makeup from the Call of Duty thing, and be like, I mean, it doesn't sound like your credit card is crying. It sounds like it's like, stupid, like I'm really gonna give you a chance.
Well, you know, I just hit click on the phone, and it kind of just goes through.
Oh, so. See, there you go. The dangers of modern technology, man.
Oh, yes. The dangers. But, you know, it's exciting, you know, that I get the, you know, when I'm going through, you know, my, you know, social media posts, or I'm just going through emails where I'm getting like concert alert, show alert,
you know how you can solve that, right?
Yeah.
You know how you can solve that, right?
I don't want to solve it.
But you know you can.
Yes. If you want to call it solving.
Yes. It's called turn off the notifications.
Oh, yeah, I could, but...
Live in that blissfulness of not being bombarded with all kinds of reasons to spend money.
Oh, well, I like to spend money on those things.
Wow.
And a couple of things I found out today is the Super Anime convention that I went to is actually back on this year. So it's going to happen in August, which is a plus. And the art festival that usually happens in June, they are having it, but they pushed it to October. So that's still a plus. So I'm looking forward to a lot of these things that I enjoyed pre-COVID coming back.
Yeah, it's amazing how many things you're starting to see going on. Like, I know Friday, a bunch of us at work decided to go out for lunch.
Yep.
And we rolled up in the restaurant, and this is one of those restaurants I've always wanted to go to, okay, but I didn't have to worry about wearing a mask coming in, which was kind of refreshing. But we get there, and one of my friends is like, dude, you've got to have the rib sliders. Got to have them.
Sliders, that is a very...
So he was all on this whole kick about rib sliders, and we're all like, all right. Waiter gives us the menus, rib sliders aren't on the menu. And it's like, look at it, I was like, oh, what's up with this? You know, I mean, what's up with this? And he sits there, we flag the waiter down and be like, hey, do you have those ribs? Do you have the rib sliders? He goes, sorry, we're having staffing problems, so we've adjusted the menu to what is stuff we can make easily that doesn't require a lot of dedicated prep, because the work shortage right now, which is so funny. And I was listening on my Wall Street Journal thing today. It's like you're starting to see the pendulum is swinging back the other way. When we all went into lockdown, all these different restaurants and things kind of had to cancel bulk orders on food supplies, and in turn, grocery stores were having an increase. So there was a shortage in the grocery stores for smaller packaging of food items, and the restaurants were canceling a lot of stuff because they couldn't order in bulk. And now we're seeing it swing the other way. Now you're starting to see there's too much for the grocery stores and not enough for the restaurants, because all these places have dialed back the amount of stuff they're prepping for sales as people are starting to come in. So we've got the labor shortage of people not running back to work really quickly. And now we're getting some supply shortages, because now that you're ramping up demand for having these things, all the infrastructure to get this stuff out has all of a sudden kind of collapsed and dialed back as everything's starting to open, which is very funny how it's like we're having this rubber band effect.
It's a catch-22. It's kind of like, just to compare it, you know, you're driving on the interstate and there's traffic, and it kind of just caterpillars back backwards to you, and sometimes when you're driving on interstate and you see it on the the traffic, you can see that actual like caterpillar motion of the vehicles, which is kind of funny. But yeah, it happens. But hopefully you get to try the rib sliders at some point. Is it a local restaurant?
Yeah, it's called Fire Brew.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I know Fire Brew.
I thought it was a lot of fun. Got to have some mimosas because we got to hang out. All those things. I had a chicken, like a buffalo chicken dip with pita bread and a flatbread pizza. And then when I got home, it was like the kids were all out. So it was like, well, the kids are all out, and we were gonna plan to go out to eat anyway. Where do you want to go? And we ended up going over to Big Ugly Brewery because they had a food truck, and the food truck served pizza.
Well, that's always a win-win.
So other than the fact it took damn near 90 minutes from the time we ordered the pizza to when we got it, it wasn't bad. It wasn't bad pizza. I mean, they made it fresh right there. Kind of
a long time for a pizza.
Well, it was the only truck there. Okay. The parking lot was packed. There was people everywhere. I mean, it was everywhere. I mean, it's like you find a seat. I mean, people were sitting on the retaining walls because there wasn't enough seating. I mean, a couple people would be rolling up in there with their own folding chairs and got the dogs and the drinks and they had a live band, which was a lot of fun. A lot of fun.
Good.
Kind of a live acoustic type band. So it was good. It was a great night. The garage doors were open. It was fun, but it just, in the time it took us to wait for the food, because that was the first thing we did when we got there, stand in line to order the food because the line was like almost wrapped around the building. And once we did that, then we partake in our drinks. So we got through our drinks, and then the food was ready, and we got done with the food, and then we decided, well, we're good now. We're gonna head home.
Put it in the box and go.
Actually, no, ate the pizza, then left.
Oh. Oh, well, you still got a taste of greatness.
Oh, yeah, the pizza wasn't bad. The pizza was not bad at all. And then, so it was just, that was kind of the weekend, was, having the friends over on Sunday and doing the, doing the restaurant thing Friday was, I mean, it was enjoyable. It was a nice kind of chill. The weather was absolutely amazing. We stayed there long enough to turn the fire pit on, because it was starting to get a little chilly, but overall it was a good times, great. And then it was like, okay, with everything with work, it was like I need to unplug.
Yeah, that's always a dutiful thing,
Yeah.
We were just talking off air about workaholics.
Yeah, we were, because I got an email. I got a work email like 10 minutes before we were getting ready to do this. And it was like, hey, and it's like this thing. And I'm like, one workaholic to another, I'm not responding to this message until tomorrow. Because I know the person who sent it. The person who sent it will just work on it. And I'm like, no, I want to take a breath.
But yeah, so it's like, yeah, it's always good to unplug. I practice that work-life balance. The second I unplug, I plug into my other part of my life, and then you need one half with the other. So, yep, I do not have my work email on my phone for very same reasons. If you want to reach me, message me, you can text me, you can call me. But if it doesn't involve,
well, I mean, you're not really in the position I'm in.
Oh yeah, you're in a different position now. But still,
yeah, I'm kind of back on the management track.
Yeah.
So it's like, and I have people who work until like 8 o'clock. So it's like, for me personally, I don't like to not be available to if someone needs me.
Oh yeah.
It's kind of one of the. It's a weird thing.
Yeah, I mean, if I was in that kind of position, I probably would, but unplugging is definitely important. Because you don't want to burn yourself out. So. Oh,
Mayflower's commenting she hasn't heard about the first place I mentioned. It's like, no, you wouldn't, because that's actually in Virginia Beach at the Red Mill Shopping Center. So little out of the way unless you like run out to Sandbridge or something.
Oh yeah. So if you ever want to go, let's go, May. I know you drive. Let's go. Meet up. Mods and crew, meet up.
But yeah, it was kind of fun. It was very chill. Last night, I gotta admit though, I am struggling today. I was doing a community session game.
Late night community session.
I think I ended the call and went to bed by around 2 a.m. A little after 2 a.m. when I went to bed.
Late bird.
So it was a great session. It was a great session. Everybody had fun. The story was good. The climax was good. It took a while for various reasons. And I'm not putting anybody on blast or calling anybody out or doing anything like that. It's one of those things. It's like, you think the session's going to last X amount of time, and it ends up lasting much longer. But the biggest thing is everybody stuck around to the end.
Yeah.
Everyone had fun. So we had those nail biter moments. We had those mystery moments. We had that poor unfortunate soul who tripped both of the booby traps. But it was good.
Both. Not just one, but both.
Triggered both. One of them, both of them, it was just like, you're right there. Yep. It would trigger. So it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun.
Somebody's calling somebody out in the chat.
No, it wasn't Avery's fault. It was, I guess we'll just talk about it right now. We were doing a thing where the theme of the session was being lost. Feeling lost. And so it back and forth trying to figure that out. The idea was suggested, and I took and ran with it, was to kind of emulate the feeling of being lost. I designed a hedge maze that the party had to navigate through. So I put together this hedge maze, set it up, and the party had to walk through the hedge maze. Now, the way I did this for a little bit of sanity is I had everyone roll initiative, and that's how we went through the hedge maze, so they could all kind of figure out. And, the party being smart decided not to split up and everybody just kind of fan out and try to find the center. So they kind of were working in group. And in the end, they went right when they should have went left to make the maze a much shorter trip, but they didn't know that. And I wasn't going to give that away but it was one of those things at the end, when we got to the end, it was, oh, can we see what this map looked like? We're dying. And to realize that they only got through a quarter to just under half of the map. They didn't come across everything I had laid into the hedge maze. But I did set up an opposing trap concept. I had these two tiles, one that had like an image of an angel, and one that had like an image of a gargoyle or something like that. So I decided, you know what? Let me put these up as a trap that releases like kind of a take on the glyph of warding, which is you cast a spell into a glyph, you trigger it, the spell goes off.
Yeah.
So I decided to kind of flip it, and instead of having something evil and dark happen with the gargoyle, I used like a radiant and cleric type spell, and then for the angel I used a life taking spell. So it was like this player stepped in front, and it was, at first I was, because caught up in everything but he was a good sport and re-rolled for the dex save for triggering the trap. He failed to save, took a guiding bolt at 3rd level to the face. And of course, he's just like, oh, wait, statue, it's got glowing eyes and shooting things. Not cool, man.
Pew, 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 pew.
And then when he moved over to the other side, inadvertently stepped next to the angel one and triggered that trap. But thankfully, he made the dex save this time and didn't suffer the effect of like a vampiric touch, which, for those who don't know, vampiric touch is one of those it's normally a touch spell that what happens is you take like 4d8 necrotic damage, and the person casting it regains hit points equal to half with the necrotic damage. So when it's put into like a glyph of warding or set up something based on that, it's a dex save, and the target will take the effect of the spell. But he managed to dodge that one. So he didn't take that one.
Skip and
dodge.
But
I had zombies, I had statues with shadows hanging about them. I did try to kind of picture the whole library thing from Doctor Who and the weeping angels and all of that kind of stuff, but it was that
for influences.
But the big theme was like to feel lost in a hedge maze.
Oh yeah.
And I had never done that kind of setup before, so I was really kind of like, all right, let me. So I did my research. I tried to find some hedge maze designs, knowing that in Roll20, doing curves is a little hard to do, but straight lines is easy.
Okay.
So I found a design that was mostly straight lines with some angles. So I was trying to transpose it to kind of build it out, and then just run the dynamic lighting, which in Roll20 is amazing because you can click the setting to not have your person pass through those lines. So it was they could walk through, and so the walkway was like less than 10 feet. There's this hedge, and of course people are trying to be like, oh, it's a hedge. What does every D&D party do when they come across something? They set it on fire. I don't know why. It's something that every single party does. They set stuff on fire. So I was like, all right.
Oh, that's funny.
I got this. So I empowered the hedge for an auto regeneration. Any damage dealt to it will regenerate in like 1d4 rounds to make it really kind of potent and quick. And then the other thing is it was empowered with Entangled, where if you tried to cut the hedge or walk through the hedge or anything, you would have to make a strength save and not to become restrained in the hedge as the vines kind of creep all over you. So there was a lot of elements of this maze that were really kind of creepy and really could be like, this is bad. Don't do these things.
It happens, I guess. You see something and first thing you want to do, light on fire.
I mean, now to credit, the party did try to use like control flame and whatever to kind of burn a little holes. And there was a really great, I'm picturing this really great cinematic a moment. You have the hedge kind of coming up. There's this 10-foot area, an old decrepit statue, and a zombie that's just kind of standing there. One of the players burns a hole in the hedge. It's roughly 5 feet by 5 feet. And before the hedge can close through, another one of the players dives through it.
Okay.
Rolls, comes up, and starts attacking the zombie. Another player thinking, you know what? This would be a great idea. I'm gonna enlarge myself to a large sized creature. I'm gonna take my big beefy arms, and I'm gonna reach through the hedge, grab the zombie, and pull the zombie through the hedge. Except for the fact he failed the strength save, so he sticks his arms in, and now his arms are stuck inside the hedge, and he can't get to the zombie. Another player, seeing the zombie, realizing he can't get through to attack the zombie in melee range, decides, you know what, I'm going to throw a javelin. And the character who jumped through was like, please don't use the lightning one. That would suck. Please don't do that. So he throws a regular one, kills the zombie, puts it right through the hedge. So the guy who's got it on the opposite side of the wall, he's got his arms in. All of a sudden, he's got this tip of this javelin sticking out of the hedge, right in his face. Right in his face. I was like, that could suck.
Yeah, that might, just a wee bit.
But yeah, and they were working through, and of course, I started to do the alien thing. I remember the original Ridley Scott Alien when Dallas goes walking through the vents. The alien is also creeping. Once they made enough noise, which they did, I started to have my main baddies start walking the maze.
Do.
So it was just a matter of, it was one of those things. Is like, while I'm standing here from the dungeon master's perspective and the party's going, I've already got my initiatives rolled out. Everything is stacked in there. We're rolling through the initiative. And then when it gets to the point for these two creatures to move, it's like, all right, they're using their movement and they're starting to move around the maze. And it finally got to the point that they were all converging together because they were trying to find a lost kid who's at the center of the maze, because why not? And then try to rescue the kid and get out. But it was fun. I mean, I think there was some technical stuff we had to go over with a couple of players, and then once we got into it and everybody kind of got into that routine, it was pretty much walking through it. And some elements just took a while because some people were they had one idea, then they had to quickly pivot to a different idea and see how that plays out. And they got and they fell in. I mean, I didn't even lay these red herrings as intended to be red herrings, but sure enough, D&D players,
Hey, it
you
happens.
give them something to look at, and you as the dungeon master putting together this thing is like, all right, this is going to be very boring. It's going to be very monotonous. They're not going to pay attention. They're not going to care. What did the party do? What color? What's the stone made out of? Can I use this ability to check the details of the stone? It's like,
Why not?
I'm not going to tell you no, because you're invested in trying to find out what this stone is, where it was quarried, what's the age of it, what's its color, what's its chemical and mineral composition. I'm not going to sit there and tell you. I'm not going to sit there and tell you no. It pushes me to like, okay, what am I going to do? All right, it's going to be blue granite. It's over 100 years old, and the statue has been weathered and worn and fell apart.
Skadoosh. You get a prize. A deadly prize.
I was like, I had some broken statues. I had some not so broken statues. I had zombies kind of sitting there, and I even had that bit where I'm thinking about, there's some dead bodies and the zombies are eating, and the party comes around, and it's like, and they could have crept up on the zombies if it wasn't for somebody else shouting, "Statues got glowing eyes. It's not cool. They shoot at you. It's not cool at all.
Run for your lives." Yep.
So it's like, so much fun.
Hey, as long as there's fun, that's all that matters.
And the thing is like, thankfully, this is between us. I'm glad I worked from home today, because then I didn't have to worry about getting up quite as early.
Oh yeah, once you said what time you went to bed and knowing what time you needed to.
Well, I'm trying to my wife works a day shift similar to mine, right? So figured, why don't I get up at the same time? That way it's like I can get to work early and maybe kind of fudge things. It's like, all right, I'm in the office for this hour to this hour. I'm doing these things, and then I'll head home. And if I need to work on stuff at night, I can work stuff all night. No big deal.
Yeah.
That was the plan. However, 2 days into the plan, it's not working out so well.
Nah.
Because on Sunday, once everybody went home and I had a chance to kind of like decompress and think about my work week, I picked up audible.com. Go check it out.
Yep.
They're not giving me anything. I'm just telling you it's really cool. And I've been listening to some Clive Klessler books. Specifically, I love his series about a character called Dirk Pitt. Very kind of a very, very cool character. Well, I was in the process of listening to another book. I had a few hours left on it. I really wanted to see how the story ended. So I sat there and listened to the book. Not realizing that when I finished the book, it was 1:30 in the morning.
I've done stuff like that. I'm not even going to be a hypocrite.
So it's 1:30 in the morning, and it's like, all right, I need to go to bed. And then it's like, and Marie's telling me, all right, I'm getting ready to head to work. I'm like, yep, getting up. Echo, set alarm for 7:30.
Yeah. Didn't work out.
No, it didn't work out. But
it's all right, you'll get the groove in eventually.
I know I will. It's just, but it's just so much comedy, so much hilarity in these things.
I know the feeling.
But yeah, and the thing is, I've got another community. I believe I have another community session tomorrow night with another creature. I have to think a little bit more on that design to kind of embrace the emotion for the creature, because I don't want to give away too much because this is still an ongoing set of modules and all of that. But
I'll leave the mystery right where it is.
I think it'll be a lot of fun. It's going to be an interesting twist, and I'm wondering if the players are going to figure it out, or they're going to suffer, or they're going to suffer.
Who knows? But something's going to be set on fire. So.
I have yet to, actually, no, I can't say that. I have run a few in sessions and a few encounters where something was not set on fire.
Well,
It's rare.
dime a dozen.
It's rare.
Rarity. Crystals.
See, some love in the chat. I'm seeing that. You guys are awesome and amazing and great human beings. All the support you give is amazing. And of course, then it's like, oh, please tell us. Nope. I'm like, Sakura, you're not even being in any of these sessions. Why am I going to tell you? You got your own set of crazy to do.
Yeah, time to move along and move around.
But I'll be happy to talk about it after the session is run and it's out
Afterwards.
there.
Yep.
But yeah. It was fun. It was a lot of fun reading books or listening to books, because rediscovering Audible, I find it's really helpful for what I'm doing at work right now, because I'm doing a lot of data crunching.
Yep.
So it's one of those things. That's probably why I chewed through 3 Clive Kessler books in a week. When these are, and so for context, each one of these books is like 17 hours. I chewed through 3 of them because I'm data crunching on some stuff in Excel and Power BI, and it's just like, while I'm doing this, I'm going to listen to something.
Oh yeah.
So I listen to the novels.
Keep it going.
Yeah. I can't speak to that. I'm not saying nothing. I don't know what Jason's going to do or when he's going to do it.
Sipper on the lips. Like I said in the chat, sipper on the lips.
I'm not privy to that information, unfortunately. But yeah, it was all those things. So yeah, that's been my past few days. But today I did watch some movies.
Yes, sir. Couple of movies on the streaming platforms.
So what do you say we talk about those movies?
Let's go right ahead.
All right, you want to talk about some movies? Let's talk about some movies.
Yeah, speaking of fire,
let's talk about Army of the Dead first.
Flipped it on me. Do.
Boom.
It's all good.
Hey, there is fire in this one though.
There is fire and a lot of craziness too.
So, in case you guys are not aware out there, Army of the Dead is the latest Zack Snyder film that was paid for and is up on Netflix. The review that we're going to talk about is on ryreviews.com. All one word. Go check it out to read that review. Check this one out today. Ry checked it out as well, so we both can talk about it. Ry, as always, the floor is yours, good sir.
Yes, sir. So, Army of the Dead is the latest from Zack Snyder, and anybody that has watched many of Zack Snyder's films, 300, Watchmen, Justice League, you know that he has a knack for style over substance and a lot of emphasis on visual prowess. And this movie is no exception. So what you have here is a very basic center plot that focuses on a group of mercenaries who are tasked with the ultimate job. This group is led by Dave Bautista, and the character's name is Scott Ward. And this takes place in the aftermath of a zombie outbreak in Las Vegas. And Scott Ward is tasked with a proposition from an auspicious businessman to go into Vegas, go into a prominent hotel casino, and get the money out of this vault. It's $50 million, if I remember correctly. And there's no catch, supposedly. But that was what Scott and a couple of others were going to take for themselves. But this vault was actually had over 200 million. So it's 50 million, 200 million overall, and that was the foundation and the premise of this film. From this point, what you have is a film that is very much in the first. I break this in 2 halves of a whole. In the first half is very much a point by point, just a setup of a heist film. And if you've seen a heist film, you have the montage of the characters bringing everybody together and setting the mission afloat with a couple of unknown entities within the group. There's always a couple people in the group that are sinister in a way, and you have those tropes with all the characters. But the additions that makes this a little bit interesting is the zombie element, or zombies as they put it in here, because it's not your typical zombies. There
are a few of those.
There are a few of those, but the one thing that you can take from this is that there is a hierarchy and a leadership within the group of zombies in Vegas. And unlike other zombie films, you're going into their world and try to survive it while trying to get to the money and the heists. What do you think about the first half of this film, Scuba?
Very tropey, like modern heist films. You have your you have your character, you have your loose setup of the job.
Oh yeah.
Then you go through your montage of getting your team together.
Yep.
And then there's the montage of going over the plan.
Yep.
And seeing how the plan ideally could go.
And
then realizing that there is no way it's going to go that smoothly, because otherwise this would be a very boring film.
Yep.
But for me, the thing that got me on this one is this is so video game tropey too.
Yeah, it is video game tropey.
I mean, just look at the cover art here, right? Just look at the cover art. I mean, you could take anyone, you could find any one of these character builds in any modern zombie game.
It feels like you were, it feels like you're playing like what you mentioned off the air, Dead Rising.
Oh,
Dead Island,
much.
Left 4 Dead. You could just pick and pry characters from there, throw it in this movie, and that's what you have in the first half. It's very much a setup on generalities, and you have your typical flaws. You have some forced, what I call reactionary melodrama, especially between Scott Ward and his daughter, which I found that a little bit too melodramatic in a way. But you know, a lot of the framework is built on a derivative script with visual prowess and emphasis on the visual prowess, because that's what changes the film to turn it into what Snyder is known for, and that's action, and especially over the top, insane action.
Oh, well, I didn't see a lot of over the top.
Okay.
But I did see it was a lot of it seemed very kind of fast in some respects, but it was also again, I think this is very much a video. I would call this definitely very heavily video game inspired.
Yes,
especially the zombie elements, the fact that everybody's got the stylized, personalized set of weapons. I mean, even old boy sit there, his rescue saw, his concrete saw, has got artwork on it like you would find on like the A10 Warthog or some everybody else's. I mean, literally, you got weapon skins. I mean, to credit on the production crew, and to credit on that, where you sit there and you've gone that mile to where you have a weapon skin on everybody's weapons. You have particular outfit designs. I mean, even the dude who's the safe cracker, his outfit is nothing related to tactical in any way, shape, or form.
He's very standout in his own unique way.
But again, it's a build you could get in any modern kind of video game that has zombies, where you could have customizable character skins. And so much of that is on here. Again, poor Vegas. Vegas seems to be getting the short end of the stick a lot this year.
Oh yeah,
lately.
But it was a very good sandbox in a way, because it allowed for some creative character builds, not the main zombie, but the other ones, as well as some very, I'm not going to say scenes, but very, when you give me specifics in uniqueness to the zombie formula, you better use that character and or creature in a way that will be satisfying. And like I told Scuba off the air, it was definitely satisfying for me.
Very satisfying. It's a very satisfying film, but it's also not a very. I think it's, for me, this is a very forgettable fun.
It's one of those I would wrap this up in saying that Army of the Dead is the typical foray that you would see in a Zack Snyder film, and it's pretty much a personification of his signature in films. So you have your tropiness, you have your generality setups, but it's all in the action, all in that adrenaline roller coaster ride. A lot of his movies hits on this, a lot of them misses, but in this one it hit for me. It's on Netflix, check it out. Otherwise, it would be a fun time at the theater. 3 out of 5 for me.
Let's see, Troy's coming in. We were talking about Army of the Dead on Netflix.
Army of the Dead.
Well, but I mean, This was fun, but yeah, this was forgettable fun, very kind of generic, pretty much. But again, this is something you probably find in any kind of modern zombie
Oh yeah.
fast paced. I mean, for me, Dead Rising is totally the inspiration, some of the influence on this one.
Oh yeah.
Change my mind in the comments below, but watch this film and tell me you don't think Dead Rising 2 on this.
You can't change my mind. That's actually my favorite of the group of.
I mean,
ones.
even the montage bit where they're doing the whole slow cam around and everybody's got there,
Las Vegas.
and it's like you got the dude with the gold-plated AK-47, you got them with their tools, got the dude with the saw, and then you got the safecracker with the infamous baseball bat with giant like landscaping nails driven through the head.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
But I like I said, I enjoyed it doing some twist on the zombie element, some of the fights, and some of the action.
yeah, I like the cast choice on this. So I want to take a moment and definitely talk about the choice of cast for some of the characters was great. Like the helicopter pilot, I was listening to her and watching her, and I was like, I've heard this before, but I couldn't place it. It wasn't until I was looking later. It's like I recognized her from Star Trek Discovery on CBS, but didn't realize she was a stand-up comedian.
You know the story behind the pilot?
Yes, I heard about that. Apparently, she was a last-minute addition. She was a last-minute recasting after the film had finished shooting. So they went in and shot all of her scenes and her dialogue and all that. And then, again, the wonders of modern technology, took out who they originally cast for the role and put her in. And if you weren't aware of that, it would be flawless.
It was seamless. I did not know about that fact till after I watched this review of this film from another place. And when they said this, like, I didn't even know. Wouldn't even realize it. So what's your rating on it? I gave it 3 out of 5. Scoob, what you got?
I could give it probably 2.5 out of 5.
Friday night rental.
Yeah, I would say it's definitely in that rental one. I mean, if you went watch in theaters, it'd be fun. But for me, again, I think this is like a forgettable fun.
Oh yeah, it's one of those ones that's just like, it is what it is. So fun time. If you like Snyder, check it out. It's on Netflix. But we're about to head into the waste of fires.
Yep.
Or not the waste of fires. Fires burning in the wilderness.
Yeah, this was the other film we both were checking out. Those Who Wish Me Dead. This one is another one of the simul releases, theater and on HBO Max.
Yep.
This is Angelina Jolie as the lead role. This is one of those that's very simple in its story.
Yeah,
it's actually pretty bland in its story.
Yeah.
I think the fact that instead of your typical disaster movie tropes, we're not dealing with a tidal wave, we're not dealing with an earthquake, we're not dealing with a volcano, we're dealing with forest fires and wildfires.
Oh yeah.
Which most of those movies that have that as a central theme are typically like your made-for-TV movies, or your direct-to-DVD kind of lower-end things. This seems like this is more of a bigger budget thing, but we got an amazing cast for this.
Very, very deep cast in here.
Very, very cool cast. I mean, even supporting cast is great. But the premise of this one is you have a person who has got some emotional demons and questioning her judgment on a call she made, on a decision she made on a previous firefighting, and some civilians were killed in the process.
Yeah.
So she's trying to cope with that. She's got the whole post-traumatic stress and everything with that. And she is been assigned to a fire watch tower for the summer, which is cool.
Yeah, in Montana.
And then to kind of for the action elements of this, we have someone who stumbled on some information he probably shouldn't, reported it, and then the people in power who would be impacted by this have decided to remove all the witnesses.
Yep.
So we have this criminal element, assassination type thing, someone on the run, very much, very some. I definitely see some inspiration, some parallels, and some story elements from like the client, and some other things, and then you have this wilderness kind of outdoory bit.
Yeah.
The movie, you don't need a lot of lore setup, world building. It pretty much gets right into it and kind of just takes you along for the ride. But it's not a very it's not like we're hitting on a lot of really big, large social things to talk about. We're not getting into any kind of crazy political mystery like a Tom Clancy shtick or anything like that. This is pretty much on these events come together rather conveniently, and you kind of go for the ride. And it's just wasn't I actually enjoyed this one in a lot of ways more than I enjoyed Army of the Dead. Like Army of the Dead is kind of one of those, you watch that, you're like, oh my god, there's a zombie tiger. Wait, what? To this, where it's very more emotional and character driven.
Yeah, it is. You have, like you said, you have Angelina Jolie that plays the role of Hannah, the firefighter, with the emotional backdrop, but she also has this like relationship with Ethan, played by John Berthel, who is the sheriff in Montana with her. And you have that set up, and then you have the father and the son Connor, who's on the run from these assassins, and like you said, conveniently meet up, and that's the plot. So it's pretty much a cat and mouse game between the boy Connor, who teams up with Angelina Jolie, who finds her in the woods, while Ethan gets mixed up with the assassin. So it's a cat and mouse game between them, trying to survive each other while also surviving a wildfire at the same time.
And the thing is, the wildfire is not even that large of an element in the story.
No, it doesn't even come into play till later.
But I think what's really nice, I think what's nice about it is the fact that this is one of those things in terms of runtime. Runtime, this feels like there's no dead time in the runtime.
Nope, it's really short.
Army of Dead, running comparison, there is parts of Army of the Dead where there is just dead time. It's like, do you need this? I didn't feel there was a lot of that in this. I felt it kind of kept boom, boom, hitting those points and moving along to where everything kind of converges. I mean, you could definitely, the firefighting and the forest fire are definitely elements in there. And
it adds credence to just make it a little bit different than your typical action thriller. So it adds a little bit of a Mother Nature element. But this movie is a very simplistic build that alludes to some predictable mishaps. But it is your edge of your seat thriller, and it plays within that central sandbox, which in this case, it's the forests of Montana with Mother Nature and its unpredictability of those wildfires. That kicks more into the third act, and it leads into some conflicts, but some authenticity with choice, because like you said, it does have more of a character focus in this story, even if it's very simple, but it does handle it very well in the third act, where you see how certain emotional ties are put to the test. And even if it's very predictable when certain protagonists and antagonists come face to face, it still has some kind of a satisfying ending in a way for me.
Now, one of the things we were talking about, and I think maybe one of the reasons why I have a appreciation on this one, for at least from my perspective, is there was a game that came out a couple of years ago called Firewatch.
You mentioned this to me. I haven't played it yet, but I heard of it.
There are some parallels. Like the main character in Firewatch is someone who goes to spend a summer at a Firewatch tower, and he's kind of running back through the events that led up to this. As the character, you're coping with loss and trying to deal with it, and then there's a little mystery going on around. But it's just that the visuals, the sense of being alone, and that the thing in nature kind of stuff, I thought was really nice. So maybe that changed my appreciation perspective in watching this.
Yeah.
But I also know that watching the two, I was sucked into this one a lot more than I was sucked into Army of Dead.
I would concur with that. I enjoyed both for two different reasons. I enjoyed one a little bit more, but still, this is your, what I say, an everyday thriller, has very commonplace settings, but it does have enough moments for an enjoyable time.
Yes.
So, and same rating like the other one. It is on HBO Max. If you have it, check it out, but it would be a fun time at the theater. 3 out of 5.
I'm going 3 out of 5 on that as well.
Yep.
Troy in the chat has a nice little comment. It's like, where we're talking about dead time in films. It's like, you really want to, he's like, yeah, Kubrick films. There's definitely moments.
Yeah, he is the master of the meaning of dead time.
So, I mean, he put a lot of effort into every film. I get it, but there are times it's like,
yeah,
we move this along.
There's films can drag out too much, and sometimes series can do the same. So, totally understand that with a Kubrick film, even though I enjoy most of them. So it's kind of ironic. So.
So yeah,
cool.
Which is funny because I think we're looking at both of these films are very kind of bland in a lot of sense.
Oh yeah.
Which kind of ties into an article we were looking at in the Odds and Ends, which was an interview Donald Glover gave.
Yeah.
About how it's like we're getting a lot of very bland stuff in the entertainment industry, stuff,
movie,
whether it's
TV and film.
Movie, TV, film. I mean, arguably some video games are rather kind of playing it safe, and thinking maybe some of the influences, the cancel culture crowd that we've been seeing crop up more and more. And I can't say he's right or wrong, but I could definitely see some parallels. Like, I mean, you look at network television. Network television? It's like, what's their safest show formula?
Criminal dramas.
I mean, really,
CBS, just CBS itself.
I mean, seriously, it's like, you want to find really interesting stuff. It's like, you have to go to the streaming services or stuff like that, because even feature films in some ways are kind of playing it safe.
Oh yeah, so it is one of those things, Donald Glover, if you don't know, he is a man of many talents. He's played in acting roles, Lando in the Solo movie. He's written and produced Atlanta, and he is a rapper that goes by the name of Childish Gambino. So he is one that does like to diverse. So when, he puts out there that, it's so bland, he does have an eye for creativity. And the idea of being canceled and just going with the tried and true formulas is kind of hurts that creativity and experimental of the beyond the aesthetics. So, which is kind of good that, there's more ways to go beyond network television with the streaming services. But like you said, network television is very standard within its ways. So it does have that effect on, some creators who just don't want to be within that balance and go beyond, hopefully. So,
well, I think the other thing is maybe some of the reason we're thinking it's very bland is because it's kind of hard to find an original idea and a retread of an idea. Because, I mean, there's so many things. Many things.
It's a century over, the media realm. So only, so much originality you can do. So it's all a matter of, I think, you take the foundation, how can you spin it in a way that makes it feel authentic within its own sandbox? Because, everything has a foundation from something, but what is it that you can spin it to? What is your character, build? What is your emotional?
What's connection? The thing? What's the messaging you're trying to do? Like, that's some of the things they're working on this is that messaging.
Like a genre that is very basic to its core. I'll just use an example is Westerns. But how can you spin Westerns in a sci-fi, The Mandalorian? How can you spin Westerns in an urban setting? How can you spin it with like urban cowboys? The Idris Elba movie I watched recently.
Or how can you take some of those things and merge them together, like the show Westworld was fairly creative on the whole Western and sci-fi theme. Cowboys and Aliens is another one of those that kind of mixed sci-fi and Western themes to it.
And another one, which the like modern Western. How can you make the Western modern? Hell or High Water, which is a film that came out a few years ago. Like, it uses that formula, but mixes it in with modernization to make it good because of how the story is written, how the characters are written, and the setting. So,
Very much so. Very much so.
Spin that formula, people. Spin that formula.
All right. So yeah, how about let's talk about something else real quick.
Are we gonna talk about Vroom Vroom?
Yeah.
Okay, that's why we
I've got some thoughts on this.
All right,
and
so we're gonna end on one odd and end article tonight, and it is with an electric vehicle from Ford.
Electric vehicles are. I mean, we're seeing more and more of those in the market.
Yeah.
Tesla's been like the major game in town. I remember reading a few months ago that Jeep was putting out an all-electric Jeep.
Volkswagen's putting an all-electric car. Like all the makers are putting out something.
Well, this and the latest offering from Ford is an electric F-150.
Yep.
F-150, the iconic truck of the Americas because of Ford and its whole history. Reading this about this truck, it's like I'm thinking they're reaching pretty far for what they want to try and pull off with this truck.
It's possible. It's possible. So with the Ford F-150 Lightning, it's got a starting base price of $39,974. And also you have your different choices of batteries in it, but it averages on a charge 230 to 300 miles on a charge.
Well, and here's the thing though. It averages on those charges, but some of the things they're putting as selling points. I mean, Ford trucks are supposed to be like workhorse.
Yeah.
A lot of fleets use Ford vehicles in their fleets.
A lot of
services.
Them. Yeah.
But this one is like they're trying to say you can run a job site off your truck.
Yes.
Which someone who has some history working job sites, that seems interesting because sometimes having power to run your tools is kind of it'd be a bit frustrating if you got to like lug a generator or look for an outlet. But could you run your tools on a job site for the day and still have enough charge to drive home? And then the other thing is one of the other things they're trying to advocate with this is, things happen, the world, and you can sometimes lose power. Well, they're sitting there saying that they've developed technology within this vehicle that when you plug it in to your house to charge it and you lose power, you could use the truck as a generator to power your house.
Yeah, it's got bi-directional flow built into these batteries.
I think they're really cool. I think they're really cool ideas. Yeah. I'm just not sure if the execution is going to go as well as what they're promising.
I actually am on the side of optimism because if you're talking about electric vehicles 20 years ago, the hope and the actuality never came out. But nowadays with technology moved so much fast and you see a lot more electric vehicles out on the road, a lot more car makers investing in it. And I know Ford has been investing in electric been testing and investing for many years. Like you said, the outlet to help, with powering your tools, it's something that was already offered within the hybrid model for a couple years. So that's one that's bringing over to this fully electric. So I think it's possible. I mean, like real test, we won't know until it's really tested, but the promise does make it look good.
That's fair. I mean, I think it'll be interesting.
It actually gets me intrigued. I'm not a truck person, but when I saw this, I was like, when I first saw all electric truck, I thought it would look stupid, crazy, weird. But when you look at the actual picture of the truck, it looks like a normal, awesome F-150 to me. They didn't have to make it look weird or anything. It looks like an F-150.
I mean, a truck's a truck. But if you can balance towing power and workhorse stuff as an electric vehicle, that could be interesting.
Yep.
And then your next challenge is charging it. Especially in this area, there aren't a whole lot of charging stations out and about yet.
I think in Virginia Beach there's quite a few. Plus you have your charging at home. So.
Yeah.
But it is a good. At least I see it as a stepping stone towards something else.
Yeah,
I start somewhere.
I'm not doubting that. I think it'll do it. I just don't think it'll do it as long as they're kind of projecting.
Yep.
But
promise big, and whatever you deliver.
I know. I could think right now one of the first mods I would try to make on it, being an outdoors person, is rigging up some solar panels to kind of offset the battery charge.
You know, I was thinking about that when I read the article.
I mean,
I was thinking about it. Yeah, what Troy said. That's why I was like talked about the design, because Elon Musk's truck design was, you know what? It was a weird looking truck.
no, his truck was designed for like, hey, I don't know how to work a blue collar job in my life.
Yeah.
But this is what I think a truck would look like, a luxury truck.
Yeah.
I mean, have you looked at the SUV? Have you ever seen what their SUV does?
I've sat in all 3 models of the Teslas.
I mean, isn't that kind of weird? It's like the front doors kind of open and then the side doors kind of do that wing thing we saw back with the DeLorean.
Oh yeah.
And
I've sat in the car though. I've sat in the car at the dealership, so I want a Tesla. I'm not gonna lie, people, I do. Oh, but one day, I guess.
An electric Hummer.
Oh yeah, they are making an all-electric Hummer. GM is bringing out an all-electric Hummer.
I think if I were to buy one, I'd probably buy an electric Wrangler, and then maybe do the electric truck. But of course, my next vehicle is going to be a Jeep Gladiator. So
Gladiator for the Gladiator.
I like the Gladiator. But yeah,
that's that.
Yeah, a luxury truck. A luxury truck. I mean, that's why the design is so stupid looking.
Very true.
I'm telling you, it doesn't look practical as far as a work vehicle. I'm sorry. I think of trucks as work vehicles. I get a truck, it means I'm hauling lumber, I'm hauling dirt, I'm hauling stuff. I'm doing work.
Oh yeah.
Not looking pretty at the club.
That's why when I see the all-electric F-150, it's an F-150.
Mm-hmm.
It's got an electric motor in it. That's the pretty much the difference. If you're gonna build a truck, make it look like a truck. And Ford's like, we're keeping our design.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So that's the one thing that caught my eye. I was like, okay, all right, it's a truck. Now let's see what it can do.
Alrighty. Well, I think with that, it's after 9 o'clock. I think it's time for us to call it a night. Thank you everyone for sticking around to the end of this video. You're awesome and amazing and wonderful human beings. Please make sure you hit that like button if you enjoyed our dialogue and the video. Also, if you're new here, don't forget to hit the subscribe and the bell notifications so you can be notified when future videos come out. If you're watching this on demand after the fact, please be sure to leave a comment in the comments below and change our mind on some of our opinions, or attempt to, or we could discuss some of these topics further there. Some other shows we got going. Actually, you know what? Make sure I give credit to Sirenscape, because Sirenscape is awesome background music soundboards you can use for your tabletop experience. We use them here for our background music for the podcast. Also, if you want to support the studio, another option you can do that is to go over to patreon.com/scuba studio. You check us out there if you want to consider being a patron. And additional supporting for the studio so we can keep making content like this and stepping it up where we can. Some other things on the schedule for those unsure. Saturday at 1 p.m. Eastern is Shadow Watch. The party has arrived on the Koatoa Island, and now they're going to try and attempt to acquire the last piece of the Shards of Day. Challenge accepted right now is on a 2-week hiatus. They completed the Danger of Dunwater module, and I need some time to prep up the next module on top of everything else with work and whatnot. Sunday is a Sunday with Scoob, 2-hour kind of morning show where I work on miniatures and kind of chit chat with friends. I'm not sure what miniature I'll paint this week. I'm eyeing that dire troll that's in the box.
Is it over here?
Yeah.
Okay, I see it.
Eyeing the dire troll. I might do the dire troll. I might pull out some of the stuff from Dungeon in a Box has sent me, because I got a growing pile over there as well. Or I might work on my Dwarven Forge. I haven't decided yet. I'll probably figure it out when we get there. So thank you to Ry for sticking around and coming over, hanging out. Hope you enjoyed this new time slot. I think we're going to kind of stick with the 8 p.m. Eastern thing going forward, just because there's a lot going on, and staying up till 11 o'clock at night is not conducive for long periods.
I know that for a fact.
Solid street samurai.
Yep.
Alrighty. Thank you to the moderators in the chat. You guys are awesome and amazing as well, keeping me on track and running all those wonderful commands as we talk. You're awesome and amazing. And we will see you with that. We wish you a good week, a restful week, productive week, all of those things. And we will see you on our next stream. Good night, everybody.
Peace. I don't even want to look up that truck from Tesla because every time I think about it, I cringe.
I would never look up that truck from Tesla either.
No.
I remember seeing the pictures like, oh, pre-order it for $10. Like, are you out of your bloody mind?
Huh.